Excellent. I still see some people popping in here. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to begin in just a moment here as we allow the last few people to get their cells settled in, and then we'll go ahead and begin today's session. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and begin. I think we've had enough time here for everybody to get settled in. Welcome, everybody. My name is Gordon Berridge. I'm the Senior Associate Director here at Bentley University's McCallum Graduate School of Business. We are very, very excited for you all to join us today for today's session on the Bentley student experience, specifically for our early career professionals. We have some amazing panelists today to answer all of your questions, but I am incredibly excited to introduce a great colleague of mine, Emma Emmer. She is the Director of Strategic Programming, Strategic Programs, who's going to be handling and answering all of your questions and talking to our amazing panelists. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Emma to get us started.
Awesome. Thanks, Gordon. We're so happy to be together today to talk about Bentley Student Experience. I know when you're deciding where you might want to go to graduate school, a hugely important piece of that is what does it actually mean to be a student there? And that can vary really widely across schools. Of course, curriculum, super important. We got to know about that. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. But I really want to spend most of our time talking about what does it feel like to be in the classroom at Bentley? What does it feel like to do things outside of the classroom at Bentley? And how has Bentley's network impacted our students? You all may also know from the title of this session that we're specifically focusing on that experience for folks that are joining Bentley's graduate programs as early professionals. So think about people who maybe are coming straight from their undergraduate experience or maybe have 1 or 2 years of work experience under their belt. Less folks that maybe have 10 years of work experience and are rejoining an academic experience later in their career. So we're hoping to focus a little more on what it looks like to join Bentley as you're kind of deciding where your career will go, as opposed to when you maybe are mid-career and are trying to accelerate. I am joined by three amazing Bentley, well, two current students, one graduate, but three amazing people nonetheless, who are here to tell us a little bit about their experience from their perspective. I'm going to ask them if they're comfortable introducing themselves, telling us a little bit about what program they're in, why they decided to come here, and when they decided to come to Bentley in their professional trajectory. So, Fred, I'm going to ask us to start with you, and then we'll just popcorn around the group and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. So my name is Fred. I'm in the MSBA program, so the Business Analytics program at Bentley. I chose to come to Bentley. Well, for one, I went to Bentley for my undergrad, so I am a double Falcon. I knew what I was getting into, so that was like the first selling point. I already knew how Bentley runs and what it has to offer, so I knew that was what I needed. At the time, I had been 3 years into my entrepreneurial journey. I had launched several businesses, some failed, some successful, some broke even. But I think during that time being an entrepreneur, I realized that there were areas that I lacked, right? And for me specifically, that was my technical expertise. So I wanted to find a program where I could bolster my technical expertise while also still gain a little bit on the soft skill end as well. And Bentley's program is very well rounded in that sense, is at least for the MSBA, right? Within the MSBA, you focus a lot on data analytics, data science, but we also go into a lot more of the advanced things like machine learning. Like right now, I'm taking a class on data mining, right? And this can involve sentiment analysis, which is quite important in both marketing. It could be important for data science and data analytics, right? All of these can be utilized as an entrepreneur in your own business. It can be used on a corporate basis, being a data scientist or a data analyst, right? And driving data-driven decisions. So for me, when I noticed that in my toolkit, I was missing the hard skill aspect, I decided, yeah, I would need to go back. And I've decided to go back to Bentley.
Thanks, Fred. I think you may be the only person I know that 3 years out of undergrad, you had multiple businesses and the ability to say some failed, some were successful. So we're going to dive into that and talk a little more about that. But I want to pass to Novi if you don't mind introducing yourself as well.
Oh, hey. I'm getting an internet.
Oh, no. You want to figure that out and we can come back to you? Okay. Let's try that instead. Go ahead, please.
Okay. My name is Christian Winding. So please you can call me Chris. I'm a graduate student at Bentley University, pursuing my Master's of Science in Accounting with a concentration in assurance. I'm originally from Cameroon, and my home city is Bamenda. And before coming to Bentley University, I had my undergraduate degree in Cameroon. I worked for like 5 years, decided to, advance in my career, definitely go into public accounting. And so for that reason, I decided to come here to Bentley because amongst all the universities, Bentley was, my first choice here in the US because it offers a lot of career opportunities, especially for an accountant, given it is historically an accounting school.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. Novi, do you feel like the sound is better? All
Yep.
right, pass to you.
Good. Thank you. So hi, everyone. My name is Novile. I go by Novi. I just graduated with my MBA at Bentley this past December. So I did the program in a year and a half. And so I enrolled at Bentley when I was still a junior in my undergraduate. And so I came to Bentley through the Discover Bentley program. And that was sort of a very great easy coming to Bentley because of the several opportunities that Bentley offers. And one thing that really stood out was the Career Development Center that I've utilized throughout. And that's how I even got the role I'm at now in my full-time role. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about how Bentley either is going to set you up or has set you up for your career progression. But before we do that, I would love to talk a little bit about a couple of aspects of the student experience while we're here. I'd love to talk about kind of an in the classroom student experience piece. I want to talk about kind of outside the classroom, so co-curricular things you've done. And then I want to talk about that career exploration piece of your time at Bentley. So let's start in the classroom from a student experience perspective. And I would love if at least one of you, but I would happily have all of you tell us about a story from inside the classroom that's been really meaningful for you. So was there a specific class or a specific lesson or a specific module that was particularly meaningful in helping you connect the dots between why you came to Bentley and actually what you're hoping to do after Bentley? Anything come to mind for any of you?
Yeah.
Novi, I'll start with you. Yeah.
So I took 2 classes that for me were, I guess, a pivotal moment in my Bentley time. And so when I was coming to Bentley, my career background was in the investment world. And I really wanted to pivot to the technology space, but I also didn't know what exactly to do because technology is very broad. So I took the strategic IT alignment class, and then I also took another business process class. And so with business process, we were working on SAP, which is the company that I'm working on, I work for now. And we pretty much had a project to map out a business process using an SAP solution, which I've continued to talk about even now as I work at SAP. And every time I bring that up, it's a very unique experience. And I think it really prepped me for how the technology industry is spaced out and how it's also aligned. The other class that I took, which was helpful for me personally, was the negotiation class. And that came in very handy when I was negotiating for my salary. We learned about different techniques, which for me, I'd never taken any negotiation class. So this was really instrumental, even for me as a young professional, because most times when you get your first salary, when you get your salary, you're like, oh, I mean, this is fine. But I think that class really pushed us to say, okay, the first pay isn't always right. You could always ask for more.
Novi, I love what you're saying there, especially as a young professional. Sometimes it feels like power dynamics are such that you don't have a lot of power there. And it actually connects a little bit to what Fred was talking about, where I think a lot of Bentley's coursework is uniquely designed to both have some hard skills involved, so business process analysis, hard skill, versus soft skill, negotiation, making sure that you're able to appropriately position yourself in that kind of space. Fred, I'm wondering if I can use that as a jumping off point for you, who I know was coming to learn some really specific hard skills here, but also spoke about the need to kind of continue thinking about your soft skills. Tell us, is there an inside the classroom experience that's been meaningful for you?
In terms of like technical skills, I would say last semester I definitely I had it was a Python, oh no, SQL course. And so with data-driven decisions with SQL, I really had to kind of get through that learning curve, right? I had no technical experience prior, and I thought it was extremely difficult at first, and I wasn't sure how it would apply to my work. And lo and behold, I was interning at the time, right, at Mass General Brigham. I'm actually still interning at Mass General Brigham. They were like, "Hey, Fred, can we put you on this project?" And it was completely based on SQL, and I did not think I would ever apply it in my work, as I build custom software solutions for the company. And I don't really have to do any coding, but they assigned me to a project where I said, wait, this is all SQL based. What? And you know what? It worked out. It went hand in hand, right? I'd never thought that would land in my plate, but you know, just having these technical skills available to me, right? From learning SQL, learning R, learning Python, right? These skills have all come into play at one point in my internship experience over the last 8 months, that I never thought would have been a part of my internship experience.
I love what you're saying there, Fred. I think there's a lot of students here at Bentley speak about exactly what you're saying is in the classroom, you're often faced with hands-on projects. So like what Novi was talking about, actually working on a business process analysis for where she ended up working. And we'll talk about that in a second. That's more happenstance than anything else, or some other kind of hands-on work. And I think a lot of folks talk about they also have internship experience or co-op experience where they're also putting those pieces to practice very quickly and realizing why, hey, it's not just this kind of standalone academic experience that's theoretical, I'm actually using it pretty immediately in my work. Chris, I'm wondering if there's anything that comes to your mind that you wanted to share about it from inside the classroom.
Yeah, of course. In addition to what Fred have said, I remember last semester we had this class, Business Processes and Controls Assessment. From the name of the course, and given that I'm in the assurance program, you might think you focus on might be something theoretical, but I was surprised that during the class we had to take some lessons on Alteryx. You know, Alteryx is one of the data analytics tool where you can use to manage really large sets of data that cannot be handled by Excel. So with that tool, we had a group project that was, I think it ran for the whole semester, where we had to do data cleanup with really large files that Excel could not handle, and certain things like that. So at that moment, I realized that being an accountant is gradually shifting from might be theoretical based or just, you know, as it used to be in the past. You have to learn more of these new tools. And Bentley really offers that opportunity, given that we were all shared our Alteryx account, our SQL account, Power BI, and all of those tools. So that was a moment in class that I knew, you know, I was getting ready for the job.
Yeah, that's amazing, Chris. Thanks for sharing that because I do think that getting ready for a job piece is a huge part of the point, frankly, for early career or in your case, kind of early mid-career professionals. You come to Bentley because you're looking to transition into a certain type of role. So from Chris's perspective, it's about pivoting in his space. Novi or Fred are kind of launching into their careers. And so I'd love to use that as our pivot point to talk a little bit about how you used your degree or your time here at Bentley to start positioning yourself from a career perspective. And so, Fred, you've already talked a little bit about, hey, I knew kind of from my entrepreneurial ventures, here's what I was doing. I knew what I knew. I didn't know these other things. I'd love to dive into your Mass General Brigham internship a little bit and hear kind of what are you doing there? How did you get that internship? How does it connect to your time here at Bentley thus far? And then Chris and Novi, I'd love to talk a little bit about how you've navigated getting those kinds of hands-on experiences as part of your Bentley time. But Fred, we'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my internship with Mass General back in June of 24. And I went through what every student goes through, right? You're applying to hundreds and hundreds of applications, and you get maybe like 5 to 10 responses at most, and that's just an interview. That's not even an offer, right? And you get like 2 offers, and you're like shouting for joy. I'm really, really thankful to the career center, honestly, and working with them, because a lot of times I feel like when I was an undergrad, I was very discouraged every time I didn't get a response, right? Uh, and it's part of the game almost, with how applying for jobs is these days. You just have to apply nonstop. Don't take it personal, right? And when you do get a response, act on it, do your research, be prepared, right? And go break a leg during your interview. And if you don't get picked, it's okay. Don't take it personal. Keep going. I somehow managed to land my internship at Mass General, through the help of the Career Center. And from there, when I first joined, it was supposed to be a 2-month internship. And this was supposed to be a 2-month internship where there was about 15 of us in this cohort. Everyone was in slightly different spaces. There's like cloud security guys, there were software engineers, but for me, I was helping out with enterprise. So I worked on a lot of work with, we were transitioning from PeopleSoft to Workday. And so this is ERP systems, right? But also because Workday is such a large transition and Mass General has over 88,000 employees in the Northeast, most of my work was just in Excel for the first 2 months. But somehow managed to impress my managers, and they said, hey, we'd love to have you stay for the fall. And so my internship got extended, and they made me a product owner for a custom software solution that they needed to be built. And so since then, for the last 6 months, I have been building custom software solutions to meet compliance regulations for both federal and enterprise policy. And I'd say the class at Bentley that has affected me the most was actually from last semester. It was business intelligence and methods. And it's a new class. It was a class that one of my favorite professors, Professor Rude, took over, and he was like, hey, this is my first time teaching this, but I know there's a lot of great information that you guys should learn and know. And for me, particularly since I'm in enterprise systems, I thought I'd be learning more about Tableau. Instead, I ended up learning a lot more about network and IT infrastructure. And it applied a lot more to my work, because in my field, as a building containerized software solutions, we also have to look at both the downstream and where our data is located, right? And so our Mass General had just transitioned from on-prem EDW, and now we're working with Snowflake and Data Lake as our cloud software solutions and data storage solutions, right? So having taken the class with Professor Rude, I got to learn a little bit about what the differences were, how to strategize our architecture for our systems and how to optimize our own custom solution as an application and how we can support our downstream partners in analytics while also making sure that our systems are running as optimally as possible.
Sounds like an amazing internship. And Fred, you keep saying somehow I impress them. I'm pretty sure I know exactly how you impress them, which is with your extraordinary work and with your incredible background. But I don't know, I haven't talked to them, but I'm just making a guess. Chris, I'm curious if you've pursued any kind of outside of the classroom experiences, whether that be an internship or going to one of our centers or even just talking to some of the people in the Bentley network about accounting and how that's impacted your kind of Bentley experience.
Yeah, talking about my Bentley experience, I would like to begin by talking about this amazing resource we have on campus. That is the Graduate Career Development Center. So when I started my internship search, given that before coming to Bentley, I had some prior experience. The Career Center, they like orientated me on the type of roles I should be applying for during my internship. And so far, given I want to go into public accounting, I've had an offer from one of the local firms here in Waltham, but I've not yet accepted the offer. Given I was offered another role in school during the summer as the financial operations assistant, so I'm trying to see how I can balance that out. So far, I was equally looking for another role, might be in one of the big four accounting firms. You have Deloitte, EY, KPMG. They always have like these networking events on campus. And as of now, I'm still waiting to hear back from them. Might be, I don't know if I should go and accept the other offer or I should stay on campus and help the finance office or something like that. So given all of that, Bentley really offers amazing opportunities. I mean, there are just so many of them, you know. To always have the ability to do what you are studying in class. It doesn't just end in the classroom, but you get the opportunity to actually apply what you're studying out of the classroom.
That's awesome, Chris. It sounds like you have an embarrassment of riches, which is kind of an incredible thing that you have some work that you're doing on campus already. You've already been offered a role and you're awaiting word from other opportunities. And thanks for sharing about the Graduate Career Office, because I do think a lot of folks see that as a way to kind of they can leverage that towards their career goals, especially for those that are early career professionals or true career pivoters. Having those relationships through the Grad Career Center can be very, very helpful. And actually, I may take this as a quick moment to just show one thing. And then Novi, I'm gonna I know that you have an amazing story with this, but I did just want to show our Grad Career Office. Oh, I can't share, but maybe Novi, you'll tell your story and then hopefully I'll be able to share my screen, because I would love to show some of the types of events that Chris is talking about, because I do think a lot of people take advantage of that, particularly as early career professionals, in order to kind of navigate that career search. But Novi, you kind of stole spoiled your own story a little bit by saying you did a project in class and now are working somewhere. But can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up moving in the direction you have, based on the Bentley network and some of the opportunities you've been given?
Yeah, so I think let me just start by saying the Career Development Center has incredible events. And every time when my first semester at Bentley, every time there was an event, I made sure that I was there. Every time before the event, at least what the Career Development Center was doing was preparing, having like prep sessions before the event, things like giving how you should dress, how you should shake hands. And so in 2023, there was the career fair, not the career fair, but the alumni conversations. That's what it was. And so I went for that, and my former manager, who I was interning for, happened to be there, and he happened to just be having conversations with Bentley students. And I was the last person he talked to. I figured he was hiring, so I was right on him that whole entire event. And then he gave my name to Audra, and then Audra prepped me, and then my former manager then invited me to have a second interview. So I didn't know that the first initial interview at the career conversation was an actual interview. And so he invited me over to his office, and before I went, I met with pretty much everyone in the career development center, and they prepped me for that conversation, what I should expect. They knew him. I mean, he's a Bentley alum, so they knew him, so they knew what kind of conversations he sort of has. And so by the time I was meeting him, it was such a great conversation that that's how I got my offer for my internship during the summer. So I started interning for the company in May. It was a 6 month internship, which was supposed to end in November. By August, they extended my internship for a year, and then by November I managed to get a full-time role within the same company, so I transitioned to full-time this past December. So for me, it was, I wouldn't have been there, like I wouldn't even have the current job I'm on if it had not been for going for the career conversations that the CDC set up.
Awesome. Well, Novi, that's an amazing story. And let me just, as I shared, I have a little information about exactly what Novi is talking about. So these are some of the signature events that our grad career office offers. The middle one is exactly what Novi is describing, which is some of our alums come to campus and specifically talk to our students, both just from an informational perspective. So someone like Chris might attend and talk to people. We have a huge network of folks in the accounting industry. Even if it's not, hey, we have a job right now, it might be, hey, here's how you position yourself for a job at one of the big 4 companies, or give you an informational interview or what have you. You also can end up in the situation like Novi, where there is an actual role that they're hiring for, and you have an opportunity to leverage your network that way. I do also want to talk about the Career Success Summit. Chris, I think you were at that because I've heard about that experience. That is a full day experience. It's particularly useful, I would argue, for early career professionals who are thinking about kind of, how do I navigate the career search? How do I make sure my resume is appropriate? How do I set up my LinkedIn? How do I, as Novi said, position myself in an interview? And there are workshops throughout the day that help to train you in all of those things. Similarly, this is also a set of the career development resources that we have that support all of those things that I was just describing. So, AI feedback to optimize your resume, or use interview experience to kind of practice interviewing as you go into that experience. And Bentley has all of this. Again, benefits all folks who are joining our community, but particularly for early career professionals that are looking to figure out, how do I land that first job out of my program? These resources are extraordinarily helpful. So in just a minute, I want to transition us a little bit to what the application process looks like for folks. But I want to give Fred and Chris and Novi a chance to share any kind of last thoughts about their Bentley experience that have benefited them as they've thought about either going into their experience or exiting their experience to optimize their time here at Bentley, or something distinctive about their Bentley experience that they want to make sure that folks are aware of when deciding, hey, is Bentley the right place for me? And so, Novi, I'd love to start with you if you don't mind, and then we'll just go around the group before transitioning to some application process information.
Sure. So one thing that I did as I was preparing for my Bentley journey was attending sessions like this, and they had them throughout the entire summer. And so that helped me sort of anticipate what kind of experience I would have, because it's always important to sort of draft out what you actually want to get out of your graduate school experience. And so one of the sessions that I had attended was talking about the Graduate Student Association, which honestly I've not heard such a vibrant graduate student association from any other school. And so the graduate student has several events, and I happen to also participate as one of the board. Could you try again? Sorry, my Siri is like in the way. But yeah, so I attended several events, and also was part of the board of the Graduate Student Association, and that sort of helped me integrate into the entire Bentley community, because it can be hard transitioning from working and then going back to school. And then the other thing too was utilizing honestly every resource that Bentley ever gave us. There's so much that Bentley offers. And for me, because I was coming from a very small undergraduate, Bentley was like this big oyster that I was just trying to tap into every single thing that was being offered. But I'm really grateful for my Bentley experience and everybody I've met along that journey. Because the one thing is, Bentley has such a huge alumni network. Even now where I work, I'm always looking out for Bentley alums, even with other companies as I speak, to just connecting with other people. The first people I start with are Bentley alumni. So it's such a great, incredible experience.
Thanks so much, Novi. That's a great, great reminder. Chris, anything you would want to add? Oh, you're muted, Chris. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. In addition to what Novi have said, I'd like to share my experience I had with one of our former students. He specifically works at Deloitte. So what happened was that one of our graduate career development officers, that's Audra, she asked me to kind of like network with our former students who were already employed in the companies where I was targeting, so they could kind of like share insights about the hiring process in those companies. So what I did was I went onto the Bentley LinkedIn page, looked below, and saw the companies where our former students are working for. So I connected with this student. What he did was he shared with me the hiring manager for the position where I was applying for the internship position. So it was kind of like I was a step ahead of every other person. And then he equally shared with me some insights and their online virtual events where I actually went online and I attended all of those events. So meanwhile, others, I don't think they could have had that opportunity to like, network and kind of have those type of insights. So the Bentley Alumni Network is really, really supportive. And I would also like to talk about, like our professors on campus, even though they are not of our alumni network, but we have professors like the head of the department for accounting, who has been, a professional for 45 years in the field. So any challenge you like face in the accounting field, you simply just maybe email him or give him a call, and he's going to tell you exactly what is happening. So with all of those advantages, can I say I feel privileged or something like that? Yeah, I really feel that way.
Chris, you brought up two things that I just want to highlight, because you are absolutely right. I think the first thing I want to highlight that you said is, I think a lot of institutions have great alumni networks. I get that. I think Bentley's is particularly willing to support its graduates in pursuing their careers. Every single student I speak to has a story like Chris's, where they just go on to LinkedIn, they find another Bentley alum that's doing the work that they're doing, and every time the person picks up the phone, gives them insight and supports them. And I do think that opens incredible doors for our students, because that's just how the Bentley community works. I've also spoken to some of our alums who have literally been desperate to figure out ways to support our Bentley students. And so I think that it goes both ways, and I see it every day. The other thing you bring up, Chris, is really important, which is a lot of our faculty in our graduate programs are also kind of practitioners, or have been practitioners in their field. And in, Chris's case, I think you may be speaking of Len, who is just the most connected human being in the universe. He spent his entire career at major accounting firms and has this incredible network of people. We have the same in our MSF. We have our same in the MBA and the MSBA. And I see those connections being created constantly. Len talks a lot about how when he was at Grant Thornton, he would hire Bentley alums over anyone else. And there were lots of good reasons for that. And actually, one of the things that he spoke of is something Fred spoke about, which is that folks would come from Bentley with the hard skills and the soft skills he needed for people to be successful. And now that he's here at Bentley, he's perpetuated those kinds of relationships that have those hiring paths that I think can be very helpful for early career professionals or pivoters, because you have that extra kind of networked leg up in finding your next role. Fred, any last thoughts you want to share before we talk about admissions requirements?
I would say that Bentley is one of those schools that has endless and endless and endless amounts of opportunity for students, but it's up to you to really get the most out of your experience, right? So it essentially, being a Bentley student means you have to be a sponge. Now, how much you want to get out of that, you got to make sure and squeeze all the opportunities out of the Bentley experience so that you gather everything you can get. I can almost promise you there's an event like every single week of the academic semester. And if you just put yourself out there, right, and you show up, you never know where you might run into an opportunity, whether that's meeting with faculty, with some sort of networking event, or just meeting other people from other clubs. In the graduate program, a lot of us are working full time. And so you just never know where an opportunity might come up. And that's one of like the beautiful things that I'd say Bentley has, right? It's not just our alumni network. It's not just our career center. It's also the people we go to class with. It's also our faculty, and just the opportunities that are put into place for our community.
Amazing. Thanks, Fred. Gordon, I'd love to pass it to you to talk a little bit about if folks want to join this amazing community, now that you've heard about Fred and Chris and Novi's experiences, what that process looks like.
Yeah, absolutely, Emma. Thank you so much. And Chris, Fred, Novi, thank you for a fantastic setup. This is awesome. You guys have been amazing. I love hearing these stories. And I'm really excited that everyone's here to listen to these and hear about your experiences here at Bentley. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about the application process, because hopefully after hearing all of these amazing stories and these experiences here, you yourself are interested in gaining these experiences too. And the first step that you need to take is, well, starting the application. So the application is pretty straightforward. First and foremost, we want to see your resume. We also want you to include your LinkedIn profile. You heard Chris talk about his experience with LinkedIn and going on and reaching out to fellow alumni. So it's really important that you have an updated and current LinkedIn profile. So make sure to go ahead and include that with your application. Next, we want to see one recommendation letter. Now, if you are a current undergraduate candidate, or maybe you have just graduated, maybe you don't have a lot of professional work experience, that's okay. You can use your former professor, maybe somebody you've done an internship with, as your recommender. You also do get the option to submit a second recommendation letter as well as part of your application. Then there's one essay. Essays are short here. We're looking between 300 and 500 words, so it's really important that you are concise, that it is well written, that it's reviewed really well. There is also an optional personal statement that you can submit as well. The next thing is the GRE or GMAT. That is an optional assessment that you can submit as part of your application. I usually tell students who are thinking about submitting a GMAT or GRE, if there's a particular part of your application that maybe isn't quite as strong as you would like it to be, then a GMAT or GRE as an additional supplement to your application can be a great way to offset that part of your application that maybe you don't feel quite as strong as you would like to be. But again, it is an optional assessment. For those students, and I saw here that we do have some great students who are outside the United States, if you did complete your entire degree in a foreign language, then you will need to submit an English language test. Currently, we accept Duolingo, we accept TOEFL, and we accept the IELTS. So any one of those assessments. And then finally, we will need to see your transcripts from your undergraduate program. If also you did attend a university or college outside of the United States, you will need to get that evaluated. Please note that what that does mean is not necessarily translated by language, but evaluated from the education system in the country where you attended into the education system here in the United States. And if you have any questions about that or not quite sure, feel free to reach out to us. In a few minutes, I'm going to put our email address here. I'm going to put up some QR codes so you can reach out to us. And then if you are interested in some of our full-time MBA programs, there is an interview that's required for that program. The interview would be like this. It would be over Zoom. We'd have a conversation that usually lasts between a half hour to 45 minutes. These are traditional interviews as part of the program. So with that being said, I also want to talk really briefly about two other opportunities, because sometimes people, they hear about all these great experiences and maybe they just want to, I don't know, dip their toe in a little bit to have an experience like an MBA. And we do have the Essentials in Management, which is a mini MBA program. So maybe, like I said, you're working full time, not quite sure if you're ready to take that full leap into a full-time or even a part-time MBA program. You can apply for the mini MBA certificate, which begins on March 6th. So there's still plenty of time to go ahead and give that a try. Or maybe, you know, at this point, we've had some great conversations about those that are in their early career. Well, maybe you're listening to this and you have a lot more experience. Maybe you have more than 3, 5, 10 years of professional experience, and you're looking for a little bit more of a MBA program that's going to start maybe not at step A or step B, but maybe a little further down the line, where you can really bring in that professional experience in a cohort environment. We have a brand new iteration of our MBA program called the Professional MBA, which is an online hybrid part-time experience, which you can complete in about 2 years. This is an amazing opportunity, again, for those looking to have, for those with more experience, to have that cohort process done within their MBA program. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, or maybe you want to learn a little bit more about our other MBA programs, or about our Masters in Business Analytics that Fred went to, or maybe our Masters in Finance programs, you can have an opportunity here to set up a time to talk with one of our admissions officers. You can talk with one of our ambassadors. We have current students who you can have great conversations with. If you want to check out that mini MBA or one of our other executive and professional education courses, you can do that here as well. Or, as I mentioned before, you can follow us on LinkedIn. You saw how important that is. That's how Chris got his experience. And so you can also follow us on Instagram and all of our other social media experiences as well. So with that being said, I just want to once again, I want to thank Emma, I want to thank Fred, I want to thank Chris, and I want to thank Novi for a fantastic conversation today, for sharing a little bit about themselves, taking time away from their very busy schedules to share their experience with you. And I hope everyone who is here today has a fabulous morning, afternoon, or evening, or wherever you are in the world. And we're all very excited to see your application, or maybe even see you on campus here in the near future. All the best, everyone. Bye-bye.